Guys, welcome from wherever you are signing in this morning and listening into this webinar on winning habits with Glyn Bradfield. I'm delighted to welcome you this morning. This is my first webinar for 2022, so I feel a little rusty this morning. You know, you can't believe how a few months can make you feel rusty, but we'll get into the swing of things again, I'm pretty sure. A very warm welcome to our main man today, none other than Mr. Glyn Bradfield, our friend, our dear friend, and highly revered colleague. Glyn, thank you so much, my man, for your time today and for sharing with us this morning. Are you well? Feeling comfortable?
Yes, good morning, Kobus, and everyone out there. You're always so generous and gracious with your words. Make someone feel like a real rock star, even if they're halfway there. But thank you, Kobus.
You are so humble, Glyn, but you are a rock star, man. Thank you for your time. So guys, you might think, why today's session? And I came across this quote by James Clear. I've been listening to a few of his podcasts, and I did share this quote with our officers, but let's read it together again. We don't rise to our goals. We rise or fall to the level of our systems and habits. Every action we take is a vote for the type of person we wish to become. So James Clear, as many of you will know, is an absolute authority, is an international authority on habits, systems, processes. And, that really just got me thinking again on where we are all in terms of our goal setting. And as we have said in the invitation that went out to you, we've planned now. I'm sure that you've all have planned for 2022. So you have your business plan in place. You've identified your goals. You know where you want to take your business. But now it's really coming down to actioning it, right? And getting those systems in place, those processes in place, and developing really, really good habits. So I thought, let's place the spotlight for a moment on a few of these quite easily overlooked but critical success elements in our business and life, and ask a master at this, to share what he does and how he does it and why he does what he does. Now, Glyn is without a doubt one of the most focused, driven, professional, systematic, and absolutely people-focused real estate professionals that I've had the pleasure of working in my 2 decades in this real estate business. So for that reason, Glyn, I am so thrilled that we managed to twist your arm to listen to what you have to share with us this morning. Now, guys, before we go any further, I wanted to share a quick little video with you, just on what Glyn does. Let me just get out of that screen, and I'm just going to pop onto Facebook real quick and just share with you one of his latest Facebook videos. Oops, sorry. I actually just realized that I did not turn on. Let me just say here quickly, I want to share the sound on that video, which I did not do. So I'm going to share it again. And let me just rewind this very quickly. I hope that you can all see the screen. Glyn, can you nod? Can you guys see the screen? Cool.
One of the most famous sayings in real estate is location, location, location. And you cannot go wrong with the Broadwood area in Port Elizabeth. I'm Glyn Bradfield from Harcourts Real Estate, and it's going to be my privilege to take you through this potential filled property at 8 Marjorie Avenue here in Broadwood, PE. So upon entry into this home, you're going to be met with a really sunny visitors lounge, or it could double as an office space. You're going to come straight into the huge lounge, and just adjacent to that is the kitchen. What I love about this is the opportunity to make it open plan. And if you're one who really wants to interact with your living and kitchen area whilst cooking, making dinner, that affords you that beautiful opportunity. You then
All right, I'm just going to stop it right there. I just want to give you a quick glimpse into what Glyn does in terms of his Facebook videos and the effort that he goes to really have good audio, good quality video, and really package his videos in such a nice way. So make sure that you befriend Glyn on Facebook. He's Glyn Bradfield, and also Glyn Bradfield at Harcourts Somerton. So pop him a friend request and follow what he does. Right, so I am going to stop the sharing screen so that you guys can see both of our faces on the screen. And as you would have seen in the video, Glyn is from Harcourts Somerton. They're in the beautiful town of Port Elizabeth. And he's been in the business for 9 years. He started in 2013, but I don't want to tell too much of his background, because he's going to be sharing his journey of how he started in real estate in a moment. But I thought, let me just give you some information on Glyn's remarkable consistency and his achievements in the real estate business. Now, talking about consistency, if I tell you that in the last 3 financial years, 2019, 2020, and 2021, Glyn was either the first placed sales agent for Harcourts in Port Elizabeth, or there was 1 year that he was placed second. And this is out of 50 plus sales agents that work for Harcourts, for our company in Port Elizabeth. Now, I mean, that really takes some doing to achieve that level of consistency. Guys, I hope that my audio is coming through clearly. I hope that you can hear me well. Cool. Glyn, in that time, Glyn was also one of the top 5 sales agents in the whole of the Eastern Cape for Harcourts. And that includes about 20 Harcourts offices in the Eastern Cape. And to be top 5 consistently in the Eastern Cape is a phenomenal achievement. Nationally, Glyn is also one of our top 5% of agents, sales agents in the country. And that is more than 1,200 sales agents. So to be a top 5% agent, that again, you've got to be doing something right. So those are just a few of the fantastic achievements that I wanted to share with you. So Glyn, huge congratulations on your success, man. We are so proud of you. And we look at what you do, and we are inspired, and we are just motivated to also want to take our business to a higher level, and to do our best. Because you are really flying the Harcourts banner with so much passion and pride there in Port Elizabeth.
Thank you, Kobus. Really appreciate that.
And thanks for being, you're welcome, man. And thanks for being such an amazing Harcourts team member. Always willing to share and willing to help. And I know that you are a fantastic, brilliant mentor there in your office to the younger agents and also to the senior agents. So brilliant stuff. So friends, like I said in my little welcome message, I hope that you have a pen and a piece of paper handy and a cup of coffee, because there is going to be a great opportunity for you to be taking down notes as we go through a question and answer. I'm going to be asking Glyn a few questions, and he's going to be sharing with us. So have that handy. Right. Are you guys ready to rock and roll? So shall we do this? All right. My first question to Glyn. So really, Glyn, we would just love to know a bit about who Glyn Bradfield is, and get a glimpse into your life, your family, your career in real estate, what you did before real estate, and what else you love doing that brings joy and fulfillment to your life.
Cool, thank you. So I think I must just say, first and foremost, I'm not a seasoned veteran webinar host like Kobus is. So please do forgive the background or the lighting or the sound. I really do try to make it good there. And then Kobus had also kind of just given me these questions up front, so I could have a bit of time just to think and ponder on them, and also so that we don't waffle too much. So yeah, thank you, Kobus. Who am I? So I'm husband to 1 wife and 4 kids. My wife's name is Janita, and we are married for 13 years this year in November. And our 4 kiddos, my eldest boy, Joel Luke, is 8. My daughter, Lexi, will be 6 in March. My Abigail will be 3 in June. And yeah, we have the privilege of our Judah boy, as I fondly call him. He's currently 5 months old. So household is very busy. They keep me on my toes a lot. I grew up and went to school in East London.
I finished in 2004 at Selborne College in East London. And then I had the privilege of doing a post-matric at a school in New Zealand on a rugby scholarship. And so that was a fantastic experience. Loved it to bits. And yeah, the following year, I actually got the privilege of being accepted to the Sharks Rugby Academy. So that was in 2006. And so I packed the bags, being a long-time Sharks fan. It was like dream come true. And I thought, okay, yeah, you know, here I go. Here's the rugby dream is going to start unfolding. And yeah, whilst I was at the academy, I had the privilege of studying exercise science and actually got a level 3 coaching degree, rugby coaching degree. And yeah, but you know, unfortunately, my time at the academy was just wrought with injuries. Hey, and from a broken hand to cracked clavicle to torn knee ligaments, torn ankle ligaments, I just seemed to be on the sidelines and in rehab more than on the field. So it was, yeah, it was quite frustrating. And then eventually I just kind of had to make the decision of going, okay, I'm tired of being in a sling or being on crutches, or this doesn't really seem to be working out. So I took a sports coordinating position at Manzimtoti High School. I don't know if there's any South Coasters in Durban that are on this webinar, but yeah, if you know Toti High, I had the privilege of filling that position for 4 years. So what was that, 2009? And Janita and I got married in 2009. And yeah, we lived in Toti and it was great, hey? And then 4 years later, the call to come back to my Eastern Cape roots was just too strong. And I came and joined my folks' Harcourts office down here in Port Elizabeth. And yeah, I cut my teeth in the rentals division very quickly, thrown in the deep end there. And I tell you what, I take my hat off to all the ladies and gents that are rentals agents. Well done. You guys are phenomenal. I could only do it for 4 years. And after all that rental experience, I decided it was time to look at the sales side of things, because I'd seen some of my sales mates and they looked like they had a lot more hair on their head and a lot more smiles on their faces. Yeah, so it was 2018, hey, that I took the leap into sales exclusively. And at the same time, my wife, who's actually a qualified paramedic by trade, we had 2 young kids at the time and her hours were horrendous. And so we took a leap of faith for her to actually resign from that so she could be a stay-at-home mom. So there was a lot of change that happened. And she even said, hey, you're going to be in sales now, earning the big bucks. So, you know, I can hop over and hop out and look after the home. And it was scary, because you went from some type of stability from like a basic salary each month and things like that to 100% commission earner. But yeah, we prayed about it and felt it was the right thing, especially for our family. Hey, and so as we took that leap of faith, God really honored it. And so far, the lights haven't been off. There's been food on the table. There's been tight months, as there always will, and I'm sure you out there will attest to it. But yeah, we've managed to get through, and it's been the best possible thing for our family. So yeah, I'm super grateful for that. My wife kind of runs the household and allows me to go out and bring home the bacon. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Oh, sorry, I had my microphone switched off there. And I know that you like a piece of steak and mangoes and all those yummy food, right? So you know, you like to eat, right?
Yes. A good rare steak and mangoes, not necessarily together. Probably some of my favorite foods. And you asked about what I do in kind of spare time. I don't have that much spare time floating around. So I really am kind of intentional how I try and spend my time, you know, and so if it's not on my real estate business or with my family, then it will be kind of coffee catch-ups with friends here and there. And yeah, reading. I enjoy reading. Probably my daily supplement is the Bible. I read that as often as I can. And then just some great personal growth and development books. Hey, I know you and I have chatted about some of our favorites. Big fan of Robin Sharma's The 5 a.m. Club. And you alluded to James Clear's Atomic Habits. I actually need to get stuck into that one. Simon Sinek, you know, Start With Why. And a really good one, if you are taking notes, David Allen has a book called Getting Things Done. And it's a great book on productivity and just how you're utilizing your time. So yeah, I think that should be there.
Amazing, Glyn. To hear how you invest in yourself and how you understand the importance of continuously investing in yourself and growing as a person. But thank you for sharing with us and giving us a glimpse into your journey, where you came from a professional sportsman entering real estate and, and the journey that you've been on. So we've heard that you're a husband, you are a dad, you're a friend, you're a colleague, you wear so many hats. How do you manage to attend to all these things while you stay healthy and sane and really enjoying life? What does your typical day look like? So just give us some insight on those things.
Yeah, well, with 4 young kids under the age of 8, a day is very rarely typical. But I think from the most point, hey, I think at the start of each year, I try and write down some goals for the year that I can kind of bring some focus with, and then just try and narrow it down, even onto a weekly basis. Hey, and I would just like to add here, I think over the years, as I've been doing this consistently, my goals have really changed from being, outcomes-based goals, results-based goals, like I want to be the top agent or I want to sell 50 homes or whatever, to just more process-driven, things that are in my control. And so it's like, I want to grow my database by X amount of people. And I know to do that, I need to make X amount of calls, that type of thing, break it down. I want to put out 2 to 3 videos a month, that perhaps are not just property related. Those are like the types of goals I've been setting. And I found that as I try and nail those processes, then the results have followed. Hey, so that goal setting thing helps bring structure to my day. I think, from that point of view, a typical day of ours, it looks like obviously getting kids ready for school, and that's all hands on deck in the morning as much as we can. It's probably at this point that I would interject. My wife and I have a digital calendar which is synced, and we've got a saying that says, if it's not in the calendar, then it doesn't exist. And so the moment we've got a commitment or something, it's got to go in that calendar because we get updated real time, and that just kind of helps us manage from my appointments to household commitments to kids commitments and things like that. Hey, so there's lots on the go. Hey, Quibus, and so I've really found that as we sit down, we try and plan our week as much as possible. I'm sure everyone out there can attest to the fact that your day doesn't always go perfectly as you had hoped or as you had planned. But as far as possible, as I try and book things in advance, try and plan things as much as possible, the day or week can seem to go better than if you just kind of wing it. So, yeah, I guess a typical day, kids, school run, I'll get back, hop onto H1, I'll check what my tasks are for the day and stuff like that. Obviously, I've already alluded to on the weekend, I've got my appointments set and so forth. And then it's just a case of just going, how do I take control of my schedule as much as possible so that when the unpredictabilities of life happen, it's not a huge train smash. We can hit a bump and stuff like that, but still try and roll forward. So yeah, it's pretty much it.
Oh, right. In the conversation that we had before, you also mentioned that you mentioned the digital calendar, but that you are so clear on your roles. You do the grocery shopping, and you, Anita, does so your obviously your roles are very, very clearly defined. And I don't know if there's anything more about that you want to share. And also you mentioned to me that you start your day at 4 a.m. You're kind of the part of the 4 a.m. club now, and maybe just give us some insight into, or were you planning on coming to that later? But I think that sure, your day starts very, very early, and how do you then structure those different things that you want to attend to that are important to you?
Perfect. So again, I'm sure most of you on the call have seen the Big Rocks video. I know Quibus has kind of taught on it a lot and stuff like that. So I guess I've just got some big rocks in my day, things that I try and hit as much as possible, non-negotiables. So for me, spending time with God first thing in the morning is one of my big rocks. And if I want to get to the gym, for example, I would need to at 5 a.m. so I can be home in time to help my wife with breakfast and lunch and get kids ready for schools and stuff like that. Then sometimes I need to be up at 4. I will be honest with you, with a newborn, that has been less frequent than it was. With our 3 previous kids, they were just sleeping right through. And so it was like working like clockwork. Judah's sleep patterns are still a bit erratic. And so there has been some days where I'll admit I hit the snooze button, and it goes over. But what I can say is that at least having it in the diary, having it in the calendar, if the goal is 4 times, but you actually manage to get there 2 or 3 times, it's a whole lot better than if it wasn't in there at all and you look back at the week and 0 happens. So I kind of do the grocery run, I collect kids, I take them to sport if need be, and then Janita she cooks, she cleans, she does homework with the kids, allows me to get out and do the appointments. So it's very important having that defined role of what is our lane and staying in our lane. It just helps our household actually move forward, I guess. Hey.
Yeah. And you're also very good at structuring your days and your appointments and trying to let your clients fit into the time slots that you want to make available to them as far as you can. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so something I learned a couple of years ago, again, which helps me manage my schedule best, is if a client wants to see a home, if they inquire about a home, I will try and, as far as possible, pre-book appointments with my sellers, for certain days of the week and certain times. And then as a client phones me to inquire on the property, I say to them, hey, we've got a viewing there on Tuesday at 10 a.m. or on Wednesday and Thursday afternoon at 4 p.m., which would suit you better. And what I've found with that, instead of asking the client, hey, when are you available to view? Because that kind of puts you at the mercy of their schedule and their preference. And if the more I've realized, like the more you have on your plate, maybe the more listings you're managing, you've got to take control of those listings and your schedule. And you cannot be at the mercy of someone else's schedule all the time, where they tell you, I want to view this time. Especially in Port Elizabeth, where PE is kind of small enough where we can work across suburbs, and sometimes you've got a listing in Summerstrand, you maybe got something up in Sherwood and something across to Lorraine, and you can't be trekking back and forth, on a whim. And so I've found that like pre-booking appointments and then getting a buyer to fall in line with that, it works out best. And to be honest, most of the time, people enjoy to be led. I've noticed that with buyers. If you are assertive and you show them, hey, I've got this is my availability, or this is the availability to see it, they make it work. You give them a couple of options, and then it just helps you control, your responsibilities and commitments more. So I found that really works well for me. Yeah.
Awesome. Great. So we know you as a very focused, goal-oriented and process-driven individual and entrepreneur, businessman. How important is it? You have alluded to it real quick in some of the previous questions, but how important is it for you to set goals and know what your plan of action is going to be?
Yeah, immensely important, Kobus. I remember reading a quote from Benjamin Franklin a few years ago. They said, if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. So if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. And so I think it's just having a goal and also writing that goal down. Because I've read somewhere that just having a goal in your head somewhere mentally, this is what I'm going to go after, it's just a wish, really. It's a dream. It's not tangible. But the moment you write it down, it's almost like it gives life to that thing. And it's like, this is my focus. This is what I can go after. And that's where I mentioned to you earlier in the conversation, just about my goals have changed from outcomes based. They've changed from, I want to make this much money. I want to, sure, we need to be aware of that stuff. But I've found even over the past couple of years, it wasn't actually a goal of mine to be in the top 3 in the Eastern Cape or something like that. It was actually just to improve my processes. And the more I got a hold of those things, I was like, oh, wow. A lot of the result actually caught me by surprise, and I was like, sheesh, that's awesome, because it's just focus on the process, set a goal to take control of your processes, and then the outcomes come. And I found that the outcomes exceed your, perhaps what you may have been thinking, I want to be in the top 20 in the Eastern Cape, that's my goal. But then I was just blown out the water, of when those outcomes came, just by taking care of the processes. So yeah, I'd really encourage everyone out there, get your goal clear, but make them process-based, not outcomes-based, and you will exceed your expectations for sure.
Wow. Amen. Preach it, brother. That is absolutely so true. So you have now touched on this, and, we know that real success comes from being consistent and creating that consistency in your activities and your actions day after day, week after week. So just maybe unpack a little bit, how important are good habits for you, and executing a good system and processes with daily disciplines in order to achieve your goals.
Perfect. So again, I think there's so much information out there for us that we don't have to try and reinvent the wheel. Hey, I think it was Brian Buffini that says success leaves clues. And so we just need to go after people that have been successful and learn from them what they've done. So like a guy like James Clear in his book on Atomic Habits, as I've kind of realized, your habits are the things that you do, it's your actions that you do, but those actions are first birthed from your thoughts, say your thinking, what you're giving your attention to, and stuff like that. And so, and a lot of what we do on a daily basis, we do without thinking. I'm sure there's people on the webinar who you've got an appointment in another part of town, and you get there and you even forgot how you get there. You changed gears, you stopped at stop streets, I hope. You stopped at the red lights, all of that stuff, but you did stuff just habitually whilst you were thinking about a whole bunch of other things, maybe another deal that's on the go, maybe a commitment with a child, that type of thing. And so as I've come to realize, just from reading other way more clever people's research and what they've put out, is that our habits form part of so much of our subconscious. And our subconscious is determined by our focus and what we give. And that's what creates. So I'm kind of looking at it going, okay, if this produces my actions, where does the battlefield start? It starts in my mind first. What am I thinking about? What am I dwelling on? Am I giving myself to negativity and to doubt and to fear? Or am I stepping into these other things that help me get to where I want to go? Because I think ultimately your mind, your thoughts control your actions, and your actions dictate your life, what your life looks like. Hey? Yeah. So my encouragement is assess what you're thinking about, assess what you're giving your attention to, assess what you're giving your all to, and then assess that, change that up there, battlefield of the mind, and then that will translate into your daily habits and what your life looks like, I guess.
Brilliant. Yeah, thank you for sharing your view on that. So talking about habits, I think we're all curious to know what would be called, let's say, your 5 standout habits that you would regard as your 5 standout habits.
Cool. Lots of coffee. The jokes. So yeah, this was a great question, and it just really caused me again a bit of introspection. So forgive me if my eyes are going there, but I really want to nail them down. So number 1 for me is spending regular quiet time with God. That's where my source of just identity comes from. That's where just everything of how the type of person I want to be, that's where it's based, and that's where it comes from. So like we had alluded to earlier, if I want to be in the gym at 5 that morning, I'll get up at 4 and I'll spend time with God, so that I can then, launch into the next phase or next part of my day. And that's probably habit number 1. Do I get it right every day? No, that's the thing. Hey, we don't get these things right every day. But I think as long as they're more the norm, than the exception, then that's leading you to where you want to go. So yeah, I'll do that. Spending time with God is probably best habit number 1. Number 2, I've alluded to exercise. I do try and exercise. It might not look like it these days, but I do try and exercise more and get the body ticking over. Pre-children, and when I was, going hard at rugby, it was like 6 times a week in the gym, crazy stuff, just looking to improve like hectically. But these days it's like 2 to 3 times a week, just try and get the heart ticking over, break a sweat, get some blood flowing, and it's a win for me, In terms of my business, one of my best business habits, I think I'm fortunate that I came into real estate and I came into Harcourts. So perhaps I didn't come with bad habits from, another company or organization, but it's H1, man. I've just found H1 is the life source of my business. And I've found that as I feed H1 quality nutrients, which is enriched and accurate data, then H1 produces things for me that helps me communicate better with my clients. It just enriches my conversations with my clients, and it just takes it to a whole new level, And I remember early on in my Harcourts days, wet behind the ears, we'd go to conferences and stuff, and the people on stage would attest to H1, get into H1, get hold of H1, get to know H1, because it's your CRM. It helps you manage your clientele. And I just took it up. I was like, cool, let's do it. So I remember I'd be late at night, family's asleep, and I'm like putting email marketing pieces together, and I'm sending it to my Gmail address, and then it comes out all funky, and I'm like, oh no, that's not right. And kind of go back in there. And a lot of it was I would get inspired in the conferences, but then I would go home and just do the hard yards myself to really get an understanding of it. So yeah, I think for me, H1 is the lifeblood of life source of my business for sure. And an up-to-date, accurate, enriched H1 just helps you go to next levels for sure.
Right.
Planning my days is essential. Sorry, Kobus, did you want to say something there?
No, thank you. I'm just acknowledging what you're saying.
Okay, cool. And number 4, planning my days and weeks like we've alluded to is essential. And also just again, that encouragement that you can plan it like this, and chances are rare that it follows through the whole week 100% to how you planned it. But I think at least having a plan and hitting 50 or 60% of your plan is better than having no plan whatsoever and hitting none of it. Hey, so it's like that Gatling gun approach, and you just go wild with the Gatling gun, and you might hit 1 or 2 things, but you probably end up doing more damage than good, and planning really helps me advance where I want to go. And then I would say probably the 5th habit, which has become a habit for me, is video. It's really a few years ago, I'd heard a Tom Ferry talk on video, and it was actually back in 2018, and he was talking about how video in the next like 5 to 10 years is going to be the buzz. It's what it's about. It's going to help you reach a greater audience and help you offer a greater service tool to your clients and all of this stuff. And I was like, okay, let's get into video. Let's do it, And I look at some of my earlier videos, and they were horrendous, but they were getting like 1,500 views, and they were getting like multiple shares and wild stuff. And I was like, sheesh, this is quite something, Wow. And I think it's just that thing of actually stepping out of your comfort zone and just going, I might not be the best looking, most eloquent person on the face of the earth, but this works. Someone super successful has said this works. I'm not going to try and reinvent the wheel here. They've left clues to their success. I'm just going to follow it and kind of bring my own flavor and put my own spin on it. Hey, so yeah, I think that would be me. Hey, Kobus, number 1, spending time with God. Number 2, trying exercising as much as possible. Number 3, H1, enriching your H1, looking after your H1. Number 4, planning and prepping as much as possible. And number 5, video. That would be me.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing those habits. And I want to maybe at this point encourage each one of you that is listening in on our webinar this morning to really go and identify your habits. What are the things that you really, really want to spend more time on to get into those great habits? Now, Glyn, the next question that I have is for you to be able to achieve all these things and to function at the level that you function. I ask myself, what is it what burns inside of you that gives you this fuel, this energy, this go forward motivation, momentum? to do all of these things. So share a little bit about that with us.
Cool. Look, so I must be honest, I never grew up wanting to be a real estate agent. And maybe like a lot of people out there, it was either something you fell into or the family business you got involved in. I don't know. For me, it was like my journey is clear, off to professional rugby. That's what was happening. And then when things changed and I found myself in real estate, I realized that this is actually a proper profession, and if you treat it like a profession, it will pay you and look after you like a profession. But if you treat it like a hobby, then you'll get paid like a hobby, So I think it became a thing for me, realizing that, hey, this is a fantastic means to, firstly, to provide for my family. I think that's probably motivation number one for me. Having so many dependents, if I'm not making calls or I'm not doing the things I know is going to propel my business forward out of fear or poor planning or stuff like that, then I need to look at my kids in the eye at the end of the day and be like, hey, sorry, they can't provide for you this month or this week because dad wasn't prepared to step up to the plate and do what he needed to do, and so for me, that motivation of provision for my family, that's the juice that keeps me going. I will stay up, I will pull all nighters if I have to hit deadlines. I'll get up at 4, I'll do however many appointments, for that goal, for that outcome, of providing for my family. That's a huge motivator for me. That's my why. I want to see that they're well looked after and that they have opportunities to be all that God created them to be in life. I never want them to be stalled or hindered because dad couldn't help support a direction they wanted to go in. So so that's number one for me. That's an easy one. And then number two, I realized we are more in the service industry than in the sales industry, and our role is to serve the needs of our clients. And it's a privilege to genuinely be able to help someone, that testimony that you put up earlier, before we started the webinar. And, that young chap, it's his first property. Hey, and I know him from church. And he came to me and he asked, hey, can I come along this journey with him and help him find something? And I was like, absolutely. And when you get that type of feedback, like when you first sent it, I was like, hey, dude, thanks. That's great testimony and everything. And he's like, I meant every word. Like every single word was spot on. And I think it's such a privilege for us to be in that position to genuinely help people, whether it's buying or selling, or sometimes just helping them with the valuation and they never come back to you, but it helped them with an insurance claim and it helped them get their rates down or whatever. I think it's that thing of just cast the seed, and it eventually grows somewhere. And so I think provision for my family, Cobus, and genuinely helping people. Hey, I really want to do that.
Amazing, Glyn. You are so clear on your whys and your purpose, and it absolutely shows. It radiates out of you. And for us that have the privilege of knowing you well, it is so wonderful. I get goosebumps, to see you as such a committed family man and such a wonderful dad, and that is just so inspiring. It's wonderful, wonderful.
Thank you.
Last question, guys. I know that we're going to try and finish up in just more than 5 minutes. Glyn, how about sharing with us a few parting thoughts on what you believe, let's say the 5 main things are that have the biggest impact on the success of a property practitioner?
Cool. Great, thank you. Great question. Again, had to give this one a lot of thought. And I think number one, we've mentioned it a lot already, is having a clear strategy and plan. So don't stumble into your day. Know where you're going, know what you're after. Put those big rocks in your week. I remember one of the first sessions I saw on time blocking, Jan Marburg had done. And he had said, even color in your block certain things, here's your exercise time, here's your family time, here's whatever your commitments are, just do it, because it helps bring structure and direction to your week. I think that's imperative. And then number two, I think a great quality of a great property practitioner is to take action. Hey, so you have your plan, but now execute. Because so often, I think we need to be reminded more than we need to be taught. Everyone on this call, there are people probably on this webinar that have been in real estate longer than I've been alive and are 10 times more successful, but at the same time, they've still got to execute. You've got to keep executing your plan. And that's where you step out of your comfort zone. If you need to make that call, execute by making that call, and that fear of rejection is there, you need to just squash that thing, kick it to the curb, and step forward and execute your plan. Consistency is key. Number 3, whatever you choose to do, you've got to be consistent in it. So I've really tried, and some people have asked me about video, and they're like, oh, you're so comfortable in front of the camera and stuff like that. And I'm like, because I have spent hundreds, maybe it's even entering into thousands of hours in front of the thing. You haven't seen the 47 takes I did before that one came, and it's just, you've got to be in the trenches. You can't, that's not delivered to you on a silver platter. You've just got to get out there and do it and keep being consistent. So if you need to make your calls, be consistent in that. If you're doing your drops, be consistent. If it's video, if it's email marketing, I think we are really taken seriously when we're consistent in any endeavor in life. Hey, if you really want someone to take you seriously, be consistent. Keep showing up. Keep showing up. Don't try it for 2 months and then you go, oh, this doesn't work. I've heard people in this business that have tried things for 18 to 24 months. Some guys who have done show houses every single Sunday for a year. And then it started breeding results. So it's consistency is key. Number 4, I mentioned earlier about just nurture and maintain your database. And, it's no good just to have someone's name, contact number, and cell phone, and email address on H1 and think, hey, I've got a contact. No, that's not a contact. You need to know who that person is. How did you meet them? Do they have family? What are their hobbies and interests? Are they a homeowner? What is their house anniversary? What is their wedding anniversary? Do you call them regularly for their birthday? Do you maintain that relationship with them, on a regular basis? Because as you nurture that, that's what you'll have the fruits thereof. Hey, yeah. And then number 5, I would say focus on building relationships. Ahead of anything else. Again, Kobus, you did a great teaching a while back just on a relational agent versus a transactional agent, and you had broken down what makes up the two, a relation-based agent and a transaction-based agent. And relationship-based agents get referrals and repeat business more than any transactional agent. And that transactional agent, if you're just chasing the sale or you're just chasing the transaction, but you're never getting to know the person behind the transaction or the people behind the transaction, then you're constantly just going to be chasing your tail like that. Hey, but as you get to know the people and they see that you are there to serve them and really assist them and help them, then it comes back to you, might not be next year or 5 years, 10 years time. And it's the repeat and referral business that we know keeps us going as real estate agents. So yeah, I would say that's probably my top 5 encouragement.
Well, that is very, very valuable, Glyn. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. That brings us basically to the end of our chat today. Punky says, great team, Glyn. You sound like you were in an office training session yesterday. But Glyn, I want to say to you, thank you so, so very much, my friend, for taking the time for the two of us to chat, to share thoughts, to really take out the time to apply your mind, to think things through. I know that it took a lot of time out of your business and your family life, but it just shows what a team player you are, and what a caring heart you have, and wanting to share and wanting to invest in other people and help to make other people better. And that's just, again, that's just the person that you are. So thank you so, so very much from all of us that are listening in. We're recording this session today, so it will go out to all our team members throughout the country that could not listen in today. They will also be having a quiz at this recorded webinar. But thank you, and we wish you continued success in your business, Glyn. May it continue to go from strength to strength. I know that you have really, really big goals where you still want to take your business and to grow your team and all those things. So we're watching your space. Sorry, there's something that popped up on my screen. And we just wish for you and the family all of the very, very best. So thanks for your time, Glyn. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Kobus. So appreciated. Such a privilege. Bless you all. Huh?
Thank you, man. Guys, to all of you that listened in this morning, thank you for taking out the time on this Tuesday morning. I am sure that you will leave here inspired by all the things that Glyn shared with us. So I think in a nutshell, let's look to be very process and habits focused on a daily basis and do your things as Glyn shared with you. And that will definitely take your business forward in far greater ways than you would have imagined. So look after yourself. We wish each and every one of you a fantastic 2022. And we're all in this together. So let's give it horns. Enjoy your day and the rest of the week. Chat to you guys soon. Cheers. Cheers, everyone. Thanks again, Glyn. Thanks, man. Bye. Cheers, everyone. Bye.